This is almost Donald Trump, okay? I love the almost 30-minute quiz show. Tremendous show. David and Mark are really fantastic. I've known them a long time. Terrific guys. Find them on all trusted podcast providers, not fake news providers. So don't be a loser, okay? Subscribe now and make podcasting great again, okay?
From actions to erections, Corona to erotica.
From Kim to come, and God to oh God.
We bring you our own very special bent on the latest news.
So rub in some Purell and prepare to ride the almost 30-minute quiz show. Hello, David.
Hello, Mark.
Welcome back.
To my own home. Thank you for welcoming me to my beautiful garden.
We're back in the garden again.
It's amazing what we've got growing here. In your case,
should we be talking about that publicly?
In your case, it's that god-awful beard.
Yeah, and the mullet.
My God, you're going grey.
Going? I was grey when we started doing this.
Yeah, I know, but since you've let yourself go during coronavirus, the grey has
I'm
expanded.
quite proud of my mullet. I bought a tangle teasing comb today.
Does everybody know what a mullet is?
I don't know. It's a fish.
Yes, but that's not what you're talking about. You spell it the
Mine's
same
a
way.
grey mullet.
Very good. It really is. So the mullet was what, 1980s? No, 90s.
80s, 90s.
80s.
If you know who Miley Cyrus's father is, Billy Ray Cyrus, he had the classic mullet, which is a nice short haircut at the top, and then it just goes at the back like a long 70s status quo type haircut.
Was Chris Waddle, the footballer, had one of those, didn't he?
So my hair looks a bit like that.
Yes.
I've taken the sideys off because they were getting a bit biblical.
And, however, your child is not a famous person bringing in millions, nor are you a particularly good footballer.
No, I'm not even a footballer.
I'll tell you what, I started the first 2 weeks, I did exercise. I was a good boy, I was running on the spot, I was even doing dancing, I was doing all sorts, and it's just gone.
I think I'm moulded now to the shape of my office chair.
Or the office chair is moulded to your shape.
No, it was like a nice, one of those big old 60s leather.
All right, so you've got a square butt.
But well, I always had a wide one.
Did you see the photographs I posted
of your butt?
No, on Facebook this week of square cats.
No.
People have shaped their cats so that they're square. They've cut kind of, I don't know how they do it if they sleep them in a box, but they've cut around them so it's square. And I don't think it's just Photoshop.
I once buried a cat. It was like my aunt's cat. It died in its basket. It had a round basket. And rigor mortis had set in, so the back of the cat was completely curved. So I dug a hole for the cat, put the cat in, put all the soil back on top, and because of the curve, it had 4 paws just sticking up.
Are you joking?
No.
Did you photograph it?
No. It was in the days when I didn't have a mobile phone with a camera on it.
When you weren't grey? And what happened? Did any other animals get to it?
No, I had to put some more soil on and dig it up. And
oh my God, what a terrible story.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Should we do some questions?
Yeah, we should. So just a quick reminder, some people have been away from us during coronavirus, but
I'll allow that.
a lot have come back over the last couple of pods, which is great. What we do is we pose 5 questions. You get the chance either now or during the rest of the pod to hit the pause button and try to answer them yourselves. And they are just a way in to us having a conversation, which usually gets quite irreverent. So do you want to start?
I will start. Question number 1. Who wrote the book The Invisible Man?
Number 2. Who are the current Korean K-League champions?
Question 3. If Jesus saves, Moses does what?
4. Penguin books were tried in 1960 under the Obscene Publications Act for the republication of which 1928 novel?
And question 5. Mount Rushmore is in which US state?
Like to advertise on the Almost 30-Minute Quiz Show, please email us at almost30quiz@gmail.com. That's almost and 30 written as a word, almost30quiz@gmail.com. There are great introductory rates available right now.
Question number 1. Who wrote the book The Invisible Man?
H.G. Wells. Oh, was I meant to not know?
I don't know. Normally you play with me.
All right, okay, let's pretend.
Seconds.
Let's pretend. When was it written? Like the 1920s?
Yeah. Was it Charles Dickens?
No, it's after Charles Dickens' time.
George Bernard Shaw.
No, after his time as well.
Was it H.G. Wells?
It was H.G. Wells.
Oh, well, there you go.
Good Lord. It's amazing what you can do if you try. Yes, H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells, The Invisible Man. Why are we talking about The Invisible Man? Because news sort of has disappeared over the last 3 months.
Other than Corona.
Yeah, we were going to do a quick chat about what we've missed, what's gone missing,
Okay.
what we're waiting to come back in the news.
So I had a quick scout at stories that theoretically were going to be big in December of 2019, which is only 6 months ago, and they all just vanished.
I had a look through, listened through some of our old podcasts.
Yeah,
Just briefly to try and look at what the subject matter was.
because you like to hear your own voice.
And that helps artificially put the listening figures up if I keep listening to the podcast on my own.
Good point.
But I remember December, January, Brexit. We mentioned Brexit once or twice.
Just a bit. You didn't stop going on about it.
Well, it was sort of all that was going on in Britain and affected all of Europe and the world to some extent, how they would trade with the 5th or 6th largest economy in the world.
And your job.
And my job. But we don't talk about my job.
Yeah.
But it's gone. I mean, it's still due to happen by December 2020. But it barely gets a mention anywhere around the world now.
Is coronavirus the invention of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom?
Well, no, he wants Brexit, so...
Or comings and goings?
Yeah, outgoings a lot, apparently,
Yes,
according to the
apparently
news.
so.
And coming and going. And
Yes.
But this is not the come we were talking about in the... But it's gone.
I'll give you some others.
What else are we missing? Greta.
Oh, God, you were obsessed with Greta Thunberg.
Well, she was all over the news, and now she's like, thank God for lockdown.
So one of the things that I found was there was meant to be this year a major push by the environmental lobby about plastic, which was being called the largest predator in the ocean. Plastic pollution is the largest global threat to marine life, apart from Donald Trump. Each year, 10 to 20 million tons of plastic end up in the oceans, killing 100,000 marine mammals and over 1 million seabirds. And there was going to be this real push on awareness on that. It's gone. Now, that having been said, because of the lack of more of ships and planes and whatever, so there's less pollution, but this is not an issue.
And all of us that had our reusable cups that we took to Starbucks and our reusable shopping bags have basically been discouraged from using them in the shops now. We're much better using plastic, much better wearing plastic gloves, disposable masks. Everything now is disposable again.
Good point, well made. By the way, and totally parenthetical to the subject, I saw a video this week that it shouldn't have shocked me, but it did. And it was showing...
I told you not to look at that stuff.
It was showing the conditions in one factory where they were making the masks.
Oh, it's not that little thing with 3 Indian kids rolling them on the floor.
Oh, God.
I'm not sure how genuine that
No,
is.
but you know what? It makes the point. It makes the point. You know full well that a lot of these masks and other things that we in the West use and abuse, plastic cups, whatever it is, are being made in the sweatshops in the poorest parts of the
Where are
world.
most of these masks coming from? China.
Yeah.
So we're sticking Chinese products right up our
Faces. Another example. Do you remember the story of Daphne Caruana Galizia?
Strangely, no.
That's not like you. So it actually dates back to 2017 in October at 3 p.m. on October the 16th. She was returning home when her Peugeot exploded 80 metres from a house outside Bidnija, a small town 15 kilometres from the Maltese capital, Valletta. Does that remind you of something, the Malta story?
Was she a lawyer? Or
She was a journalist,
Ah.
and she was digging around the mafia, the prime minister, and and all of those types of things. Fast forward 2 years later to the end of 2019, the European Union, Interpol were all investigating the connections allegedly between the prime minister, the mafia, and so on, and the question of how she was killed to silence her. There were calls from the European Union for the prime minister, Joseph Muscat, to go. Guess who's still in power?
Joseph Muscat.
I wonder if the Maltese were behind coronavirus. Have you got another one?
The other big thing that was supposed to be happening this year and probably still happening is the American election. I mean, we're at nearly June now, coming up for convention time. These massive conventions with thousands of people in big arenas. And it's Memorial Day as we record this today in America, and America's about to hit 100,000 dead, which is about 30% of all the world's dead from this, even though America's about 2.5% of the world's population.
But none of that's going to affect the election, according to constitutional experts. It's the country that has had the least of democracies, the least interruptions to elections in its history. Even in war situations, the country has gone ahead. So the assumption is that it will go ahead now. Biden needs another 425 delegates to reach the 1991, which he requires to win. The whole thing's ridiculous. He is the only candidate for the Democrats. They should just declare him
Yeah, I mean,
winner.
they don't need to turn up at a big arena and wave a flag.
It's a joke, but that's supposed democracy.
But actually, would it help him? Here's a guy in his 70s. He is starting to look a bit frail. I mean, Trump calls him Sleepy Joe.
Right.
He's not as sharp as he was 8-10 years ago. Given what he said this week about black people not being black if they vote for Donald Trump.
I think the idea of Biden staying quiet probably helps, especially given who the opponent is. The UK-based Oxford Economics uses unemployment, disposable income and inflation to forecast election results, and apparently with some success. And they are projecting that the coronavirus recession means Trump will only secure 35% of the popular vote in November. Now, I suspect that that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I would agree with you that the longer that Biden stays quiet, probably the better for himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very difficult when you have a model to then throw in a pandemic that's happened for the first time like this in 108 years. If you look at some countries where they've successfully dealt with the virus and lockdown has been a shorter period, like Germany, then the politicians, the leaders, and Britain as well, even though it hasn't been that successful, Boris is still polling over 50% and the Conservatives are still polling over 50% in opinion polls. So those people in charge are given that sort of aura of leadership. And I think Trump may buck that trend because he has looked anything but in charge in America. Right. But I think the fact that he's been in charge through this crisis will push him well above that 35%.
We shall see. One last one very quickly. Story that was making the news again around Christmas time. North Korea said it is no longer bound by nuclear test moratoria. So could it be that it was the North Koreans who started coronavirus?
This episode of the Almost 30-Minute Quiz Show is brought to you by Story Slam, the award-winning storytelling game for the whole family. We guarantee you'll love it. Story Slam. Find us on Amazon.com.
Question number 2. Who are the current Korean K-League champions?
Kim Jong-un FC.
Yes, as you said before, we're going to be talking about South Korea, not North Korea.
Yeah, South Korea, North Korea, Titanic, Goldberg, what's
So we should point out that we're talking about a football team or soccer team that won the main league title last year in South Korea.
So in South Korea, they tend to have sponsors.
Yes, they're named after the sponsors.
So it's going to be something like Samsung FC.
Yeah, or
LG Electronics FC.
Yes, or
Hyundai Motors FC.
Yes, funnily enough, it is Hyundai Motors. Do you know from which town?
They are from Jeonju.
Isn't it Jeonbuk?
Jeonbuk, I think, is the region, or Jeonbuk is the nickname. But they are from Jeonju.
Jeonju. There you go. Good,
somewhere
good knowledge.
near Malta, I think.
Which means you can take it away since you got it right. You can have the honour of the first story as we do our funny Corona roundup.
So we're talking about South Korean football because football is coming home as such. The Korean Football League is the first of the slightly larger leagues to return to playing. And last week, the Bundesliga have started playing. But they're all playing in empty stadiums, which a lot of people argue is not making football as much fun as it could be. But FC Seoul from the K League decided to fill up their stadium with dolls and mannequins. The problem was their supplier had a bit of a shortage of shop mannequins, so decided to supplement it with sex dolls.
Aha.
And South Korea's Professional Football League were not impressed and have imposed a record fine of 100 million won on Seoul FC for placing these sex dolls in the empty seats. The club said that they had checked 2 or 3 times to make sure that they were not sex dolls, but it turns out they were. One fan pointed out that you could spot it by the fact that the breasts on the dolls there were at least 4 times larger than the mannequins.
Who are they fingering for the blame?
Oh, dear, David.
What? What did I say?
Come on.
Did he or didn't he? Spanish news anchor, 41-year-old on a very popular television program, has been accused of cheating on his TV star girlfriend. She was the host of one of these sort of desert island, Love Island type programs.
Love brother.
He was broadcasting. He was in the middle of a live broadcast when a semi-naked woman sauntered past him. And it wasn't his girlfriend, everybody could tell. So now there's a whole argument as to whether he had finished with her before this or hadn't finished with her before this. But I guess go and look it up on YouTube
Was
if
she
you
2
like.
meters away from him?
Yeah, and how did people recognise her if she was wearing a mask?
Depends where she's wearing the mask.
Your turn to be naughty. Do carry on.
Strangely, I stopped at this headline when I saw it. Mum drinks sperm smoothies to fight off coronavirus. A mother of 2 believes that drinking smoothies with a shot of sperm has helped boost her immune system and is helping prevent coronavirus. Tracy Kiss, a personal trainer from Aylesbury, says she's not had a cold or flu for 3 years because of her concoction, which she's used making donations from her boyfriend, and she takes 3 shots a week. I found a free and vegan-friendly alternative method to boost the body's immune system.
And finally in this section, there's a strip club in Portland, Oregon by the name of Lucky Devil Lounge that noticed that during this corona period it was getting fewer and fewer visits, and so it decided to open a drive-through. So on the menu you could buy food, or you could buy what they called food to go, whereby there would be music and lights under canopies, and the girls would dance, and then you would drive off. I was trying to figure out, like allegedly in strip clubs they take off bits of clothing and throw it at you. Does that mean
apparently
that means you have to keep your window open, which of course is problematic on the 2-meter front. And secondly, apparently some people have this strange custom to put dollar bills inside certain items, certain garments worn by said dancers, garters, bras, whatever. How do you do that while staying safe from coronavirus?
See, I read this item, and the women are slightly back when they dance, and there's a bucket in front, so you can drop your dollars in a bucket.
Definitely should get a discount for that.
I want to know what was on the menu, though. I mean, did they have clams?
Oh, God.
Or was there the beef curtain for dinner?
Let's have an ad.
G'day, mates. It's not just you boys that enjoy opening a tinny on the veranda after a hard day's slog. My idea of a good night is an icy can or 3 and the good company of Mark and David as they present the almost 30-minute quiz show. I piss myself laughing all night. Or is that the beer? Subscribe now.
Question 3. If Jesus saves, Moses does what?
Okay, do I have to think about this even though I know?
No, just say it.
Invests.
Correct. Jesus
Is
saves.
that racist or something?
It's anti-Semitic.
Oh, that's all right then.
We don't mind. A bit casual anti-Semitism is fine, apparently.
Absolutely. I talked to the British Labour Party about that.
Oof.
Why are we discussing Jesus?
It's listicle time.
Oh, lordy, lordy.
I thought you weren't going to do that accent.
Oh, yes, I did promise. Oh, lordy.
It comes in the week where Donald Trump, having not cured coronavirus, has turned to the next cure other than domestos and malaria tablets. He wants to reopen all the churches and all the synagogues and all the mosques, although he probably doesn't want to open the mosques.
May the Lord bring salvation.
Amen, brother.
Okay, so on that note, you may have noticed, either outside your own local church or more likely in internet memes, that messages outside of church buildings have become a thing over the last 2-3 years, where it used to be, come and pray, or Father John will be giving his service at 3 p.m. They're now going in for witticisms to try to draw in the masses.
Like I heard the choir, they needed molesting.
Thank you for that, yes. But in this case, it's actually telling people to stay away from churches because of coronavirus. So we have culled a few from around the interweb. Mark, take it away.
So from the Bethany Free Will Baptist Church, there is a sign outside saying, Jesus cleans the heart, we disinfect the pew.
Oh, dear. And the Wesley United Church, we are praying and listening to the scientists.
The Grace Brethren Church on Carpenter Drive. 6 feet apart today is better than 6 feet under tomorrow.
The Journey of Faith Church. Jesus rode an ass into Jerusalem. Keep yours at home.
The Edgewood Congregational Church. Services cancelled. God is making house calls.
Northlake Lutheran Church advises you to wash hands, don't touch face, which is a quote from Hygienesis 24/7. Stay home, no Sunday worship.
At the Calvary Nazarene Church, Jesus can wash away sin, but you've still got to wash your hands.
The Southeast Baptist Church advises wash your hands and say your prayers, because Jesus and germs are everywhere.
The Cahaba Heights United Methodist Church. What's not cancelled? Nature, puzzles, chalk drawing, love and hope.
Oh dear. The First Baptist Church says, shout Hosanna, but first step back 6 feet.
Actually, it should be more for shouting, because apparently shouting really sends it out into the ether. The First Presbyterian Church. Fear not, says God. Love one another, says Jesus. Wash your hands, says the CDC.
The First Baptist Church, the First Baptist Church,
You're having trouble with your BAPS.
give us clean hands, give us pure L hearts.
And finally, St. Peter's Lutheran Church. A time for war, a time for peace, a time to stay at home.
And now it's a time for a drum roll.
Write to us at almost30quiz@gmail.com, 30 being letters and not numbers, almost30quiz@gmail.com. We can also be found on Twitter at almostquiz, on Facebook, the Almost 30 Minute Quiz Show, and on Instagram at the Almost 30 Minute.
Question number 4. Penguin books were tried in 1960 under the Obscene Publications Act for the republication of which 1928 novel?
Thomas the Tank Engine?
No.
Thomas the Wank Engine?
Close.
Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Indeed. Was the gardener called Thomas?
He was called Mellors, I think.
don't
Oliver Mellors.
Who wrote it?
D.H. Lawrence.
Good knowledge.
And he died in 1930, and the book was published in 1928, as we said.
There you go.
So he was never around to see his trial.
It would have been better if it had been written by H.P. Lovecraft, which has got to be one of the silliest names ever. Anyway.
Is that an actual name?
Yes, there's a famous writer of horror called H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was something to do with sauce.
Oh my God, there is something I know that Mark doesn't. Hosanna! Stay 6 foot away.
Amen, brother.
What we're going to do now, because backed by popular demand from, was it the episode 2 episodes ago?
Yeah, we decided 2019 wasn't the best year for Literotica.
For the worst Literotica.
Right, worst Literotica. Because 2018 was a whole lot worse.
Take it away. Let's see how many we get in.
Okay, this
As
is
it were.
from the book Scoundrels, The Hunt for Handsclap by Major Victor Cornwall and Major Arthur St. John Trevelyan. So that is written by two majors. Can you imagine them sat there? It's like two old men doing a podcast.
Go for it.
Empty my tanks, I begged breathlessly, as once more she began drawing me deep inside her pleasure cave. Her vaginal ratchet moved in concertina-like waves, slowly chugging my organ as a boa constrictor swallows its prey. Soon I was locked in, balls deep, ready to be ground down by the enamelled peppermill within her.
Now, I have a problem because we haven't read these ahead of time, and I've already noticed that the first paragraph that I'm about to read has got no punctuation in it whatsoever.
Deep breath.
So forgive me if it goes wrong. This is from Katerina by James Frey. Was James Frey in the 2019 ones? Did we mention his name?
Didn't he sing with the Eagles? Or was that Glenn Frey?
Glenn Frey. Right. I'm hard and deep inside her, fucking her on the bathroom sink, her tight little black dress still on her thong on the floor, my pants and my knees, our eyes locked, our hearts and souls and bodies locked. Okay, do I really have to do the next bit? I'll go for it.
Thrice.
Okay, come inside me. Come inside me. Come inside me. Blinding, breathless, shaking, overwhelming, exploding, white. God, I come inside her, my cock throbbing, with both moaning eyes, hearts, souls, bodies, one, white. God! Come, come, come. I close my eyes, let out my breath. Come!
Your dog like that.
She did. So did the neighbours.
It's good that we're in the garden. Connect by Julian Goff. He drops the bra to the floor, looks up into her eyes. It's too much. If it's too much now, you better stop. He kisses her chin, her mouth, and their tongues touch. Oh, too much. He slips his lips free with a soft suck. Moves up to kiss her strong nose, on one side then the other. It's hard and soft all at once. He moves back down till he is level with her breasts. They're small, she says. Surprisingly shy, apologetic. They're perfect, he says. He kisses them, teases a nipple with his lips. It's so soft. And then suddenly, I can't read this anymore. This one's garbage.
Some of them are just terrible. I'm just trying to choose which one. I think we should just do one more. So we'll go with Kismet by Luke Tredget. She shuffles her head closer to his cock. Close enough to smell her own residue, and then takes it in her mouth with the vague idea of cleaning it. Jeff mirrors this gesture by burying his head between her legs, and gradually she can feel his cock pumping up with blood, one pulse at a time, until it is long and hard, and filling her wide open mouth. Oh, it's enough.
It's not a very good porn name, though, is it? Jeff.
No, Jeff.
Jeff sounds like the gardener from...
They're terrible. They are. Well, we have to say that this is, what was the paper, the magazine?
The Literary Review.
Thank you. The Literary Review that every year gives an award for the worst literotica.
I think it will be better in 2017.
Oh, are we going to do another one?
Maybe.
In a couple of weeks.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
As you can tell, we finished our beers.
You
in the
win the world blowing competition. It's far better than me.
I'm a better blower than you.
Apparently your chuff is better than my strongbow.
Cherry Chuff, available at only selected lap dancing bars on the drive-through. Question number 5. Mount Rushmore is in which US state?
One of the Dakotas. I know it's somewhere like that.
Okay, you can say that.
Is it? Am I right?
You're half right.
North.
You're half wrong as well.
South.
Correct.
South Dakota.
Correct.
Okay.
So
it's actually something I would like to see.
I'd like to see anything at the moment. I just want to get on a plane and go somewhere different.
I have no desire whatsoever to see Las Vegas.
Oh, I do.
And yet, here's something else that's man-made or woman-made that I would love to see.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I'd love to see Rushmore. I think just brilliant, clever.
So why are we discussing Mount Rushmore other than we should have been coming back from our little trip this week? So
what, from South Dakota?
From South Odessa.
Yes. Ossetia.
No, we're not going to South Odessa. Or Nagorno-Karabakh.
Yes.
He was a great pianist.
Get on with it.
So we're talking about these man-made structures because we found, and it's not a new story, but it sort of resurfaced because we've run out of things to read. A story from last year about the world-famous Cerne Abbas giant in Dorset, David. That's not Devonshire, it's Dorset.
Arr.
It's 180 foot tall.
We'll leave that one in.
Yes, we should do. It's the cherry chuff talking. I have a mouthful of cherry chuff. It's 180... Anyway, there was this news article in Metro newspaper about the Cerne Abbas giant being rechalked by hundreds of volunteers. It's a feature of the area since the 17th century and is occasionally in need of a gentle polish and tickle to restore it, including its 36-foot erect penis. Since its last refresh in 2008, the weather has taken its toll and weeds have encroached on the giant, blurring its previously sharp, chalky outline. Tons of white stuff extracted from a nearby quarry will be tightly packed in by hand around the 36-foot penis.
The headline was Volunteers Polish Giant's Erection by Hand. Stephen Fry, that well-known... Raconteur, good one. He tweeted this out and he said, I think we can all agree that this is a fine headline. And the National Trust, which is in charge of all of the work, responded, Hi, Stephen. Our top priority has always been taking care of our members. Goodbye.
Goodbye.